Sox spring training on NBC Sports Chicago is brought to you by your local Kia dealers, and it is so wonderful to be back at Camelback Ranch one more time. The beautiful desert of Arizona, the green grass of White Sox baseball, and we have fans in the ballpark at the ranch. It's been a long time since we've seen fans at a White Sox game, and we are here for you. Thank you so much for joining us once again, the first of many White Sox games on NBC Sports Chicago. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone in a box. Look, we missed you. We missed the game of baseball. How excited are you for this season, Stoney?
I couldn't be any happier because this year, unlike most, we're coming off a very, very tough winter. A lot of uncertainty as to what was going to happen. Now we know what's going to happen. There's going to be people watching baseball, and it starts here today. It's a gorgeous day in Arizona, and certainly you're not going to see all of the regulars, but you're going to see some of them. The pitching is not going to look the same, but it will as we move along. And I, for one, am very excited about this year. I think Jason feels the same way. And I think those of you out there who are watching this, I think you're in store for something special. There's a lot of talent on this team. We hope that everybody stays uninjured, everybody stays healthy, because if they do, this team is going to play deep into this year, deep into the playoffs. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to see one of the most exciting White Sox teams perhaps ever.
We saw it building last year with a playoff berth, and now we'll see what the Sox do. It is the first game from spring training. Camelback Ranch is the site. The White Sox and the Brewers. TA is going to lead off. We have a full lineup for you. The Brewers will bat first, but it's White Sox baseball on your screen next. All last season, no fans in the ballpark. We love seeing you here and wherever you might be. Thank you for joining us. And actually, it's just about as warm in Chicago as it is here. We're not even joking. We're not just trying to not rub it in. It's 60 here, and the wind cuts through you, by the way.
It's going to be a very warm next week, but unfortunately the game is played today.
Doesn't help me.
From a pitching standpoint, the wind is blowing in very hard from left center field. This is a good day to pitch.
All right, here we go. Here's a Brewers lineup for you. Our first lineup to give you of 2021. Avisail Garcia leads it off, then Omar Narvaez. It's a White Sox reunion tour. Keston Hiura at first base, Travis Shaw across the diamond at third, Daniel Vogelbach, Orlando Arcia, Daniel Robertson, Tyrone Taylor, Derek Fisher, your starting nine. No batting averages because we ain't played yet. And they all will face this man, Mike Wright, on the mound over from South Korea.
Had a pretty good year last year. He's a big man. He's 6'7", throws pretty hard.
And it's our first swing of spring training, and it comes from a very slimmed down Avi Garcia. He has lost 36 pounds coming into this year.
You know, he's trying to find some power. That's one of the things that he was looking for last year. He didn't have it. It wasn't a great year for him, but they're expecting bigger things from him because he's smaller.
Bodes well for me this season. I've lost weight in the offseason, too. I've reported in the best shape of my life.
I got to tell you something. If you lost 30 pounds, I wouldn't be able to see you.
Following a strike from Wright. Hey, it is so great to hear your voice and be in the same booth as you one more time. And I know we're both real excited for this season for the Sox.
Well, I like the fact that we're going to play 162. You would expect that that's the way it's going to be. And you're going to have the injuries and everything you have to deal with, and the team that does win it all is going to have to be one that stays healthy.
And maybe some contingencies as well. I mean, there's still a chance. Obviously, the Bulls postponed tonight. There's still a chance of COVID infiltrating the baseball environment, but things clearly are opening up at least a little bit with fans in the ballpark, roughly 2,000 today. So 3 balls and a strike from Mike Wright, and he's in there for a strike. Our first full count of spring training.
Wright has a very good slider, and if he can command that, he's got a chance to get some people out. And of course, you know, you're not competing for jobs in the starting rotation or the bullpen. You're competing to stay on the baseball team.
3-2 comes inside, and Garcia gets first base. So look, the White Sox, one of the big acquisitions this offseason, if you haven't heard, and if not, where you've been, you're living under a rock, but Lance Lynn comes over in the trade for Dane Dunning, and the Sox have Giolito, Keuchel, and Lynn at the top 3 of the rotation now.
And what they do have is they've got 3 top starting pitchers who will eat up a lot of innings and keep you out of the bullpen. And, you know, as this game moves along, we're going to talk about the importance of pitching this year, manipulating the pitching, and why this year is most unusual as far as what the needs are going to be out of the bullpen and the starting rotation.
Well, look, Tony La Russa, who's the new manager of the White Sox, has always been known for his bullpen manipulation. And this is one of those bullpens, as Omar stands in, that you may not actually want to stay out of a whole lot. There's a lot of talent in that bullpen.
Well, look, Milwaukee is going to do it with their bullpen. Everybody knows that. And when you take a look at the White Sox bullpen, you would have to say that it's as good as anybody in baseball. And with Michael Kopech starting in the bullpen, with a full year of most of these guys with a healthy Bummer, Hoyer had such a great year last year. I mean, you're taking a look at some guys who can really get it done out of the pen.
None of the frontline guys from the bullpen are expected to pitch today, but some young talent behind Mike Wright that we may see, guys like Cade McClure, Bennett Souza scheduled to pitch in this game. But when you look at the Tony La Russa, his 9th season as the White Sox manager, his first though since 1986. That graphic makes me laugh a little bit. You know, 9th season in his first year this time around. Well, look, Tony's surrounded by a new coaching staff in a number of spots. Ethan Katz has been extremely impressive. I know you spent some time with him, so have I. He's a very thoughtful young pitching coach that obviously Lucas knows very well.
No, I think that he's going to be wonderful, and it doesn't diminish anything Don Cooper did because he was great over the years. But Ethan is going to be one of those guys because of his age. He's 37 years old. He's going to be able to speak to young pitchers and veteran pitchers alike. And I think that his message is going to be one of integrating both the physical and the mental aspects. I talked with him. He said, you can't just teach mechanics. You can't just teach the physical aspect of it. But you have to integrate the mental aspect or it just doesn't work.
3-2 from right to Omar Narvaez, former White Sox catcher. And he sends this out to left field. Luis Gonzalez isn't going to get there. And the Brewers have the first 2 on with a walk and a single. And the former Sox catcher, come at the king, you best not miss. Omar's got a single.
Well, the first Brewer hitter that was not a member of the White Sox. But
Craig Counsell, by the way, must have a little bit of a sense of humor, right? I mean, you got Garcia and Narvaez, and they're both top 2 in the lineup against their former team.
Well, you're talking about one of the best managers around, and Craig Counsell at this point has been in that dugout for some time, and they gave him the opportunity, and he's really made the most of it. He gets a lot out of his team year after year. Yeah,
his bullpen management has been rather progressive over the course of the last few years, the way he's deployed guys like Hader. And Counsell got them into the playoffs last year with an under 500 record. They did not have a good season at all from Christian Yelich, but still found their way into the playoffs.
Well, that's obviously one of the big keys. If Yelich can come back and do what he normally does, it's going to be a lot more difficult to pitch to this team.
This guy, Keston Hiura, can really hit. He moves to first with Colton Wong coming into the middle infield. He's a big-time hitter.
Well, barrels, you want barrels? He's got a lot of barrels.
Did I look like I was short barrels?
Oh, yes. And the big thing is when he's not barreling it up, he's missing it. He needs to strike out less.
1-1 from Wright, who was over in the Korea Baseball Organization. Mike Wright played for the NC Dinos, the best team in that league all of last year.
You did his games.
I did. I did some NC Dinos games. I never expected Mike Wright and I would reconvene.
Here you are.
Here, yeah.
On opening day.
Last I saw him, I was in my living room.
It's kismet.
It's something. I think it's a little short of kismet.
How about a ground ball? I think Mike could use one of those here.
You got Mendick at second, TA at short, and it's 2-2. And in case you were wondering, Mike Wright did. We have video proof of him pitching in the Korea Baseball Organization for the NC Dinos. There he is against the Doosan Bears, well known for their veteran leadership. There's Mike Wright.
Is that how you spell right on the back of his jersey?
Yes, that is.
I'd recognize that anywhere.
You would?
Yeah.
You've been taking up Korean in the off season. That's one
been.
of your hobbies, I know. We got full count theater, by the way. It's 3 straight full counts.
Yeah, not what you want when you're trying to make an impression. And there it is. You see, that's right.
It is. Which is the W and the R, and which is the I and the GH, which is the T. 3-2. In the air left field. Gonzalez has no play on this ball. This is a towering 3-run home run for Keston Hiura. And the Brewers have a 3-0 lead.
Well, that was a slider that stayed over the middle of the plate, and it showed you just how strong Hiura is. There's no doubt about that because he hit it into the teeth of that wind, and it went out by plenty. Watch it again. Slider that looked like it stayed in the middle of the plate, the high leg kick, and the short swing, very compact, and a whole lot of power. They think the world of this guy, and I think along with Yelich, this could be a dynamic duo for them.
Well, Yelich, from all accounts, seems like he's figured something out from last season, and you wouldn't expect a hitter like that to stay down like he was last year.
A lot of people felt that he was as good a player as there was in the game. It just was a tough year for him. He got off to a tough start, never could get out of it.
Here's a guy they have back, the third baseman Travis Shaw, who's played both corners. And Shaw sends this ball into the outfield, and Gonzalez in left dealing with the sunlight. And there is your first out of spring training 2021. Hopefully it was on your DVR.
Well, from that ball lifted to left field from one of the smartest men in baseball, you know.
Well, it didn't take long to get the old Kent State Golden Flashes in there. And the thing is, I was going to save it until the bottom of the first.
No, you
because
can't do that.
No, you can't. That'd be too long. Eric Lauer, who's starting on the mound for the Brewers, is also a Kent State alumnus.
It's flashes everywhere you look.
Flashes of greatness. Yes.
That's it.
I missed sharing baseball with you. It's been too long.
Well, I know that you've been playing a sport where the ball's a bit bigger and this one doesn't bounce as much. But you're gonna enjoy this. This is gonna be fun this year.
Tim Anderson is there. A little sidearm sling that wasn't exactly the most accurate that he would like, but Tim has out number 2.
You know, somewhere along the line, and this might not be the place for it, but a lot of people want to outlaw shifts.
Yeah.
And I want to get your feeling about that because you're a more progressive guy than I am, and I'm not necessarily old school in everything, but you hate the shift.
No, I hate outlawing the shift.
So do I.
Yeah.
We can't talk about it though.
Why? Because we agree?
Because it's early.
We're only playing 6 innings today, so this is really the.
Oh, that's true. But
fourth.
We don't want to peak too early.
Well, that's a grave danger every spring training. Here's Tim's range.
This is what happens when you do shift and your hitter tries to pull it through the shift. More times than not, it doesn't work, and that's why you shift, and Tim is right there to make the play. I think Vaughn looks good at first so far.
I do too. Great little reach there. Early evaluation from Steve Stone. I think inviting hitters to do better is a better idea than outlawing the shift. And it's been around a long time.
And the fact is, look, they've been shifting. I mean, Lou Boudreau had the shift on Ted Williams.
Yeah.
He invented it many, many years ago. And if they're giving you a certain part of the field, just hit it there. I don't think it's that difficult a concept.
Or don't.
Right.
It's your choice.
Yeah, I illustrated by saying if you want to put 7 guys on first base, do it. But it does open up the field a bit for the hitter. Yeah,
the left side becomes the land of opportunity very quickly. 3-2. It's a high fastball, and it's strike 3 for Orlando Arcia. And so the 3-run home run for Hiura is it for the Brewers. Tim Anderson after this timeout from our sponsors. paraphrasing here because if I said the full quote, I'd get fired, thinks the White Sox are the best team in the American League. Tim Anderson on the Spiegel and Parkin show just the other day.
I think he's got a point there.
I think so, too. Here's the lineup. TA first, Yoan next. Adam, Andrew Vaughn, Zach Collins, Jake Berger back in the lineup, Luis Gonzalez, Danny Mendick, Blake Rutherford against Kent State alumnus Eric Lauer.
Lauer has unbelievable stuff. And
okay.
He is...
okay.
Well, he doesn't throw that hard. But, I mean, you have to have unbelievable stuff to pitch at Kent State. Otherwise, they wouldn't have recruited you.
Is that right?
Yeah, normally.
So Andy Sonnenstein, Eric Lauer,
Dustin Hermanson.
Dustin Hermanson. Yeah.
Don't forget Dustin Hermanson.
Why did I get evil cackle early here? Hey, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us wherever you might be watching on MLB TV. Hey, look! The hit king from a couple years ago has a leadoff single. Tim Anderson on first.
You know, he hardly ever leads off with a base hit to right field.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, it's like he hasn't taken any time off. He just decided, I'll lead off with the base hit to right field. We'll show you what this year is going to look like. And there's a lot of times and a lot of eras where the White Sox team falling behind 3-0 before they came to bat, you'd say, okay, well, it's not going to be a great day. Not going to be a great game for this team. This is not one of those teams. I don't know what's going to happen today. Obviously, none of us do. But you realize that 3 runs means nothing at any time in the ball game, except maybe with 2 outs in the 9th inning if you're 3 runs down and nobody on.
If we get there today, it's going to be a real treat.
In the
because,
9th?
Yeah, we're not going to have one of those 9th inning deals. 1 strike on Yoan Moncada, who, by the way, says he is healthy. He's ready to go. One of the lasting memories of last season was Yoan really struggling on the bench after going first to home in Cleveland, getting fanned down. He had the long-haul COVID-19 situation, and it's just great to see him. And from what he says, he is 100% ready to go.
Well, hopefully that arm is going to be good enough for him to start throwing the baseball. They think that it is, but they want to ease him into it. And I think he's in line for a very good year. First of all, 2 years ago, he was in the top 10 in the league in hitting. Last year, nobody knew, and they still really don't know the long-term effects of COVID. He just never recovered. He recovered as well he recovered well enough to play, but not well enough to keep his strength up all the time. And that, you know, it was a very disappointing year for him.
Arcia at shortstop, and off the double clutch, he's going to get 1 at second base.
Number 15, Adam Engel.
So 1 down for Adam Engel, and the White Sox outfield is going to be interesting this year because you have Adam Eaton added as an outfield piece, but Adam Engel had his best offensive season as a White Sox player last year.
And I like what he said about where he's going to play in the outfield. He says, look, I look to center field, and there's a guy there that can cover most of the field. So I'm going to be more prone to move toward the line as opposed to moving into the gap because you get more coverage that way, and Robert can catch everything. So it really enables Robert to shade the gap in left field, which takes a whole lot of that away from Eloy when he's out there, and Eloy can then take care of the line and left. So the presence of Robert changes things. But when you got 2 guys Gold Glove quality like Engel and Robert, it's going to be a pretty good outfield. And, you know, don't forget, for years, Adam Eaton played a wonderful center field. And you have no doubt he's going to play a very good right field. So I think the defense is going to be much improved.
Well, Adam Eaton, remember 2016, he had one of the best defensive seasons of any outfielder in Major League Baseball playing right.
Yes.
For the Sox predominantly that year.
Well, he threw exceptionally well also.
Right.
He started.
No, that's the position he played.
Oh.
Be on your toes, kids. We're back. You're stuck with us.
For a lot of them this year, too.
Yeah, we are. 162 starting in Anaheim. And by the way, I don't know if it's good or bad that we're opening on April Fool's Day. No comment?
Well, if we can suggest that Mike Trout take that particular day off, We're probably going to be in good shape. It's 4 with Anaheim, and then it's on to Seattle. So the first 7 of the year on the road, and then the long trip home, and we get to see the Kansas City Royals. What's going to be nice about this year is we get to see the entire league of baseball teams.
No joke, as we see some fans hanging out on the berm out there, nice to see some fans. But as I was doing some prep on the Mariners the other day, I thought, did they exist last year? Because we didn't see a bunch of the teams.
No.
It was only in highlights and things like that. So I know they had seasons, but we don't know a whole lot about their seasons. We never saw them.
They did have seasons. There's no doubt about that.
Nice to see people in the ballpark, to watch baseball once again together. I mean, I was walking around the concourse when I came into the ballpark, and it's just nice to have that community feel again of people sitting outdoor. We've had such a long winter with everything going on and all the people we've lost and everything that's going on with COVID-19. To have fans in the ballpark at both spring training sites now is a joyous sight. 2-2 from Lauer, and Engel fouls it away third base side past Super Joe down the line.
Adam showed last year that he's a much improved hitter. He also has a whole lot. It's not renewed power because he was always a big, strong guy. He's able to now generate power with his swing. There was a long time where you wondered why a guy that strong couldn't hit the ball out of the ballpark, but no longer. He can hit the ball out of the park.
Nothing like a youngster just taking in the sights of a ballpark. Throw into second base is not in time, I don't believe, as that ball ends up kicking around as Moncada has himself a stolen base.
Narvaez did improve as far as his catching was concerned and became one of the league's best pitch framers last year. However, throwing the baseball at times can be problematic, and this time Moncada just takes off, and he makes it rather easily as the ball bounds away. So, you know, it's interesting because at times Tony La Russa can be very aggressive, but he's going to really see how the flow of the game goes and determine how aggressive he's going to be on the base paths because he's got a team built around home runs.
Yeah, I think Tony's got a good feel talking to him for what this team can do offensively as Engel drives it deep to left field, back at the wall, and Adam Engel flashes the power here in the first inning.
I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but he can hit the ball out of the park now. And what we saw, again, it wasn't quite the distance of Hura, but it was into the teeth of what is a substantial wind blowing straight in from left center field. So this ball was hit awfully hard, and the wind could not keep it in the park. And just like that, a 3-0 game becomes a 3-2 game.
Yeah, the wind is really cooking. Those flags are too. But you know, you think center fielder, and you see Adam in the box. You see Adam Engel close up. He's a big dude, upper body-wise, especially. We've shown you the football highlights before. He is a massive specimen out there, and against lefties especially, he's become dangerous.
You root for all of these guys, but there's some guys you root for a little bit more. Adam Engel is one of those guys because he's really had to work for everything that he's gotten. His stock has slowly been rising in the organization. You know, there was a time when it looked like he was going to be odd man out. We heard about Luis Robert for a long time, and Luis is one of those amazing specimens and players who are going to be here. And, you know, anytime you talk about a 5 or 6 tool player, an MVP guy, you know he's got that spot, which was Adam's spot. Well, it's a pretty nice situation to see him improve as much as he has, and to adapt to a new field. When you're an elite center fielder, and Engel is, you move to a new spot because you're not gonna take Luis Roberts' spot.
You want to play.
Right.
By the way, I don't want to overreact, but I think on that 4-pitch walk, Andrew Vaughn just won the DH spot. So Mark that down.
He's got a good eye. We'll give him a good eye early.
That's nice. That's nice. Here is Zach Collins to take strike one. Vaughn over at first base today. Jose Abreu rejoined the team yesterday. He had a COVID-19 positive test. Jose back in camp now after being cleared. But Andrew Vaughn's a guy you're going to hear about this year, and Rick Hahn is very high on him and Kenny Williams, and the White Sox believe he can compete for that DH spot.
Look, he was, and this doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything, but he was the best offensive player at Cal Berkeley, the best college hitter in the country.
Yep. So,
you know, you're the third pick, you're the best hitter in the country. You know that it's going to be there. He's very strong. He's got a compact swing. He's a line drive hitter with big power. I think he's going to be fine. And we knew coming in they would give him every opportunity to win that job most of the time.
Collins to center, and Derek Fisher is there to make the catch for out number 2. And now here comes a guy. It's been years since we've seen him, and you talk about a road to coming back. Jake Berger tears his Achilles, and then over the course of his rehab, pops it again. And this is a young man who is as competitive as anybody. We talked to him when he was just drafted 5 years ago now. This young man, 4 years ago, he is so exceptionally driven. To have him back in the batter's box is highly impressive considering what he's been through.
Well, considering that he also lost 40 pounds to be able to get here, realizing that if he lost the weight, it would take a whole lot of pressure off his legs. And it's one thing to rehab an injury, a tough injury like an Achilles injury. It's another thing altogether to have to do it twice.
Down the right field line, Hura in foul territory. Garcia there as well, and Avi makes the catch in foul territory. You waited long enough, so we didn't want to make you wait for a home run. So Adam Engel lit one up here in the first inning, a 2-run shot. The Sox are within 1. We have baseball for you. Yeah, let's go. Kids love it. And your 2021 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate. Visit rate.com to learn how Guaranteed Rate helps turn people's belief in a new home into action. If you believe, you will. Catch all the action on the field. Secure your spot with a 2021 ticket package. Full 40, 20, and 10 game plans are available. Go to whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000. The first time I read that, they're new to somebody.
You know what, though? I will tell you that you do that so well that I would think that you'd want to do a lot more this year.
I knew you had one of those, like, snarky smiles on your face.
You're the best promo man in the business.
You are the laziest promo man in the business, I think, is what I'm getting leaned into here. So Daniel Robertson to lead off after the 3-run home run for Hura in the first inning. The Sox got a home run from Adam Engel, and it's Mike Wright done for 1 inning. Jacob Lindgren is on for the Sox now, pitching here in the second inning. Former Yankee farmhand and prospect throws ball 4. Comes Tyrone Taylor, who has quite the interesting story for the Brewers, by the way. He made his major league debut 2019. He got done with the minor league season in San Antonio. He had applied for a job at FedEx because that's what he was going to do in the offseason, make some money. And instead he got a call from the Brewers that he was going to make his major league debut.
And they shipped him to Milwaukee.
yes.
What a great story.
That was, you may not know this, folks, because it was so crisp. We didn't script that. There's ball 1 to Taylor. You're revved up and raring to go, aren't you? You've been caged up.
I've been waiting for this for months. Are you kidding me? This is just great. And think of how many games I would have completed if we could only play 6 innings.
That's true. That's a line drive to left field and a base hit. I don't think 3's going to win it today, folks. Taylor is on. Robertson to second. Tony La Russa, new manager of the White Sox. Obviously, a former White Sox manager from back in the day, 1986, the last time he was in a White Sox uniform as a manager of a regular season game. 3 World Series titles, 6 pennants. And talking to some of the players about Tony La Russa, he has made a strong effort to get to know the players. It's not just march into the clubhouse and say, here's what I'm going to do and here's how you're going to do it. But the players have seemingly meshed very well with Tony La Russa so far.
And I also think that one of the misconceptions was that Tony was going to come in because of his Hall of Fame credentials and tell the players, this is how we did it in my day, and it worked very well for us then, and this is how we're going to do it now, and we're going to have the same type of teams we had and play the same type of baseball. And that's not really the case. He's too smart a man and too smart a manager to do that. The personalities have changed. They used to say the game never changes, but the game has changed. It is a different game now than it was when Tony left. And I think he realizes that you have to adjust to what you have in your dugout, in your roster. And I think he's a wonderful manager. He's going to be able to do that. Very few guys have been able to manipulate the bullpen as well. Dave Duncan was his guy for many years. Ethan Katz is going to be his guy now, and I think that the pitchers and Tony La Russa come to respect Ethan already, but they haven't seen what he can do, but they will.
Check swing, no go, our first check swing.
You got to like that.
You do?
There's a new definition of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is what Steve calls needling.
No, I mean, I think that they have taken your advice, and they have decided that whatever the umpires decide is a check swing is the check swing.
Trying to go back in my mind, see when the last time somebody actually took any advice of mine was, let alone the umpires. 2-2 on Fisher. Lindgren is a guy who's been through a lot, too. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries after his time in the Yankees organization after making a very brief debut a couple of years ago. Left-hander on the mound for the White Sox here in inning number 2. And that's grounded foul.
I was trying to go with the umpires taking your suggestion into a segue, but the umpires today. Chris Siegel has got the plate. Alan Porter has got first base, Ben May at third, but the umpires, of course, with 3 umpires, are going to do a lot of shifting around like the players.
Should we outlaw the umpire shift?
No, the umpires need to shift very well.
On the ground to second, this is Danny Mendick, who's going to play it along to first for out number 1. By the way, if you hear any laughter in the background, it's from Michelle Godwin, our stage manager here. As always, White Sox Spring Training Baseball is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
However, the sad part about it is because of the COVID protocol, she's behind the curtain. She's the Wizard of Oz today.
She's got her own little Emerald City back there. It's a real nice deal. It's got a door and some cords and a phone.
I think it's just great.
She's got a landline phone in the Emerald City.
There she is.
Second and third for Avi Garcia with 1 out here in the second inning. Just nice to have the wind wafting through the ballpark. Fans sitting in the sunlight, enjoying the outside. Everybody's been through so much, and we've got 2 games here in the next 3 days. We'll see Lucas Giolito coming up on Tuesday in our game. He's scheduled to start that game against the Rangers.
I was reading about when tickets went on sale at the various ballparks and how quickly they were snapped up by people who were just happy that they could go out and see baseball. And so just about everywhere, the full complement of tickets that you could sell were sold pretty early, where people come down here knowing that, and this weather is going to get nicer even than it is now. Next week it's going to be in the 80s. But just to be able to sit outside at a ballpark, it's something that we took for granted for so long that people are not taking for granted any longer.
No, and I know a lot of fans have made their way down here in the past for spring training. This is a spring break trip with your family. I did it with my family when I was in high school when the Sox played in Tucson. And I know everybody's got a lot of pictures. So over the course of this spring training, we're going to ask for your pictures from spring trainings previous as Avi swings through that 2-strike pitch and 2 down here in the second inning.
Pretty good slider.
Yeah, it is.
From Lindgren. I mean, this is a sharp, late-breaking slider. And Avi looking for some contact, and he gets none.
There have been guys who've come back from multiple Tommy John surgeries. It's
Yes.
not easy to do. Johnny Venters came back from, 3 Tommy John surgeries a couple years ago?
1 is tough enough. 2 is very difficult. 3 is almost unheard of.
At some point, you do get the discount rate for multiple Tommy John surgeries. There's ball 1 to Omar Narvaez. By the way, we want to say hello to our friends at Cespedes Family Barbecue who are joining in watching the telecast on MLB.tv. So Jake Mintz, hello, joining up. I know you're a big fan of Cespedes Family Barbecue.
I love barbecue.
You do?
Oh, I do.
Ball on a strike. You're a little bit of a picky eater, I feel like, for barbecue, though.
No,
I'll have the ribs, but without the sauce and without the meat.
I like the ribs, but I have to have some pull off the bone as we take another look at this.
Good.
Good
Breaking
location,
ball.
yeah. But for the most part, pulled pork, a good barbecued brisket. Yeah. Sides, not so much.
Just across the board, no sides.
No.
1-1. And a swing and a miss. 1-2. Lindgren's got some stuff today.
He does. And it's, if you throw with your left arm, you can usually find a spot, assuming that you stay healthy. And so, for these guys getting an opportunity that they wouldn't normally get, it's kind of a nice thing. And getting a hot dog at the ballpark is something that is also a nice thing.
A Blue Jays fan in the wrong state. Hey, strike 3 in the outside corner from Lindgren. Painted him. And Narvaez didn't like it. So 2 on to start the inning, and Lindgren wriggles free. A couple of strikeouts in a row. Grab a hot dog. Enjoy the game.
Whiskey. Black history is American history. Go to NBCSportsChicago.com/Black History Month to find more stories about influential black men and women.
Bottom of the second inning, as the Sox will bat here with Luis Gonzalez, Danny Mendick, and Blake Rutherford coming up. By the way, as we're saying hello to folks, a lot of people are tweeting in at us and enjoying the game from wherever they might be, as Justin Topa is the new pitcher.
Yeah, you're going to love his fastball, by the way.
Will I?
Yes.
Have you seen him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Big fastball.
All right. Let's see. Let it rip. Here we go. Strike 1. We have our first angry tweet. It said, please tell them to turn the pitch speed on. It's been blank all game, from Michelle RN on Twitter. So, guys, hey.
Michelle, registered nurse?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we will have the pitch speed in the regular season. I think every once in a while in spring training, the pitch speed just isn't part of our telecast. So we apologize profusely.
Yes.
Profusely. We're working on it in COVID-19 era. We'll have it in the regular season, ladies and gentlemen.
We're working on it.
Lucas Giolito's mom, Lindsay, is watching the telecast today. So hi, Lindsay, and hi to Rick, and maybe Casey's out there as well watching.
It's kind of interesting because I keep getting asked about, with the departure of James McCann, will Lucas find somebody that he likes to throw to? And the answer is yes. He will find somebody that he likes to throw to, which is going to be anybody that he throws to, because he's one of the league's best pitchers. He will be, has been, and will be going forward. And you develop a rapport with the guy who you throw to, depending on who it is.
Look, they had a marvelous camaraderie.
Yeah,
clearly.
There's no doubt, but I have no doubt that Lucas is going to adjust very well to whoever happens to be catching on a given day.
We'll get into Lucas Giolito on Wednesday when he starts that game against the Rangers. There's a high strike 3.
Let's do it on Tuesday instead, because if we do it on Wednesday.
Did I say Wednesday?
Yeah, he won't be here, and nobody will be watching. And you and I could get into it, but
Tuesday. I keep thinking today's Monday. That's the problem here.
That's a changeup, by the way.
It is.
Unlike his fastball.
You told me I was going to like his fastball, not his changeup.
Mystified Gonzalez.
Calling the Better Business Bureau. Here's Danny Mendick, and look, I was talking to Danny a couple weeks ago for the Winston-Salem Dash hot stove banquet. Good to have minor league baseball very likely back this year again. And Danny Mendick, you look back at his story. I mean, just a couple years ago, he was the guy that they sent to Charlotte in AAA, not because he was ready, but because they needed somebody who was local and they needed a body. Danny Mendick was not a highly thought of prospect, but he is absolutely a grinder, and he's turned it into a major league uniform and a guy that you want on your roster.
Well, the description I heard from our minor league folks was that everywhere they put Danny Mendick, they thought, okay, well, we'll put him here, but he probably is going to reach his level. And he has not reached his level yet. It's kind of nice.
In behind second base, and Mendick is safe at first.
I just think it's another one of those guys you root for because nothing has come easy to him, and he's worked very hard wherever he's gone and probably exceeded everybody's expectations but his own. And here he is in a major league uniform, contributing to a major league team, and will continue to do just that because he's a prolific worker and a guy that just seems to get it done, whatever it is he has to get done.
And he's got his own clothing line now, by the way, that you can find on his Twitter page.
Great. How do I get there?
You go to Twitter, you search for Danny Mendick, and then you'll find him. Gotten better at electronics. Rutherford to the pull side into right field. Danny's going for three, and Danny Mendick is out at third. Avi Garcia guns him down at third base.
I think if Danny doesn't stumble around second, he probably is going to get in at third base. However, when you do stumble, probably it's best to pull up. Avi's had a very accurate arm during the course of his career.
Yep.
And he comes and gets this ball and makes a good job, and it's right there, the little stumble around, and that cost him the out at third.
You know, the slide almost got him there, actually. Pretty good slide to the back of the bag.
Yep.
But Avi Garcia with his first spring training throw out at third. And so Rutherford on at first. Here is Tim Anderson to take strike number one. Look, Dick Bramer of the Twins play-by-play announcer.
The verbose
yes,
Twins play-by-play announcer.
He was trying to start to stoke the rivalry between the Twins and the White Sox after what Tim said about the best team in the American League and best team in the Central. Dick had some words for us on the Twitter. Nice to hear from our friends from the North. But Tim Anderson has very high confidence about this team, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah.
And Tim, by the way, when Tony La Russa showed up, he said, if anybody's worried about whether or not we're going to get along or what, I'm going to be me, he's going to be him, we're going to get along. And it seems like that relationship is starting to flourish.
Well, they had a couple of conversations, one on the phone from Chicago and the other when Tim got down here. And things are going to be very, very good between these guys.
On the ground to short, just testing out his counterpart, Arcia, and that will do it. The scoring has quieted down so far. We have not. 3-2 after 2.
Words now because people really take those serious. But we have a chance to be the best team in the AL. We got a chance to beat a lot of people. We just got to continue to work and keep getting better and keep rallying around each other. And the sky's the limit at that point.
Tim, don't become a politician on me. You're the most you're the most honest athlete in Chicago. Who cares if they blog about it, if they podcast about it, if they tweet about it? Who cares, man? Just say what you feel. You're the best team in the American League.
Yeah, it. We're the best team in the American League.
I love that from Tim Anderson.
Yeah.
Love his belief in this team. A little too much Parkins in the soundbite, but great to hear from Tim on the newly minted Parkins and Spiegel show once again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great show, and I'm going to spend some time on it this year on occasion.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, and I was on it actually the first day when they were united. It was Bill to Steve from Arizona.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, as opposed to John from Cincinnati, which was an ill-fated show. One season it was horrible, but will be more than one season, I'm sure.
Well, congratulations to
Thank you
on that meandering whatever that was. Cade McClure, former Louisville Cardinal out of Mentor, Ohio. Throws a strike.
That's just up the road from where I was raised, Mentor, Ohio. Good high school, great high school sports.
He and Mitchell Trubisky
Yes.
grew up friends, very close growing up. As McClure, out of that great Louisville program, is ahead 0-2 on Keston Hura, who had the 3-run homer in the first.
Yeah, I would suggest if you go to the slider, keep it low and away. Hura will probably miss that, but if you hang it, he probably won't miss it.
Oh, 2. That's a swing and a miss. Strike 3. There it was.
Yeah.
Hey, you're in midseason form.
Well, we'll take a look at this, and this is where you throw the slider when you're ahead of him, because he struck out over 30% of the time last year on pitches very similar to this.
Your window, by the way, is threatening to close in front of you.
My window closed a long time ago. My window was from the end of 79 to the end of 80. That was the only window I had. But this one is closing also. You're right.
They called me actually about 3 weeks ago, and they said, we're setting up the booth. We're interested in what you'd like. And I said, can you please get the metaphorical windows, please?
Yeah, the window's closed. It's a shame, but it's kind of the way this business goes. Hi. Hi.
0-1 to Travis Shaw. Now, no balls and 2 strikes. I almost called him by his dad's name, Jeff. His dad, a great closer. And there are your windows.
There it is.
They're closing in front of you,
It
right
is.
in front of your very eyes.
Really nice.
We got the ironic windows for you. That'll teach you to talk about outlying the shift.
Yeah, I know. That's
They're
horrible.
Gonna force it for you. A little bit up. Zach Collins tried to help him. And it's a ball and 2 strikes on Shaw. I think fans were cheering at each other moments ago. One of the things we haven't had in COVID-19 is chance meetings, just random occurrences where you're sitting by somebody and you make a friend. And yeah, they have pod seating here, but you get the opportunity to talk to people that aren't your immediate family or friends or people in your bubble.
Any accommodation they can make, however, that gets the most fans in the ballpark they can is a welcome sight.
Yes.
And as you can see, look, it's outlined on the berm, which is kind of nice. You can sit here, but don't sit there. It'll keep the grass growing a little bit longer also.
That's either where the seating is supposed to be or the world's toughest game of hopscotch they have out there.
It's really a good idea. I mean, again, you get people being able to sit out there, which is really great.
Yep.
They've already had 2 home run balls early in this one.
Yeah, they were pelted in the first inning. Here a 3-run homer angled a 2-run shot, and you can become a White Sox insider today for sweepstakes, special offers, the Friday 5, pre-sales, and other exciting Sox content delivered free to your inbox. Visit whitesox.com/email today. Bear with us, folks, by the way. We have not done a game where we can talk about the crowd in over a year. So, frankly, it's just nice to see people out enjoying, walking around. You said it earlier. You do not know what you miss until it's taken away. And just the ability to walk a concourse of a ballpark is this eye-opening thing again.
And make no mistake, the players did a great job last year with no fans at all. They tried to keep the intensity up, and they did for the most part. I mean, it was good, solid baseball. It was the best they could possibly do. But as a player down on the field, you draw a lot of energy from the crowd. You draw it when you're on the road and they're booing you or yelling at you. It gives you a certain feeling. But the same thing at home when they're cheering for you. You can draw energy from the crowd, and you just seem to play a little bit better. You get a little different feeling, and I think this year, to a player, they're going to be very happy when the crowds actually expand from about the 20 or 25%, whatever they're going to be when we open. You know, some places won't have them. Most places will. But I think that the players are going to be very happy to play in front of people who at home are going to really appreciate what they're going to do. And it's just going to be an exciting place to be at Guaranteed Rate Field this year. There's no doubt about it.
Whenever that is, whenever we can have fans, and yeah, it looks good. We'll see what ends up happening. I want to ask you though, you think fans are going to be nicer now to the opposing teams because they haven't been in a ballpark for a while?
Yeah, for the first 6-8 minutes, they'll be really nice. Hey, nice to see you guys.
Hey.
And then they'll be screaming at them just like they always have.
2-2 fouled away by Vogelback. Arcia coming up next. Shaw at first, one out here in the third inning. Ethan Katz was talking about this the other day, that bullpens pregame even are different for pitchers as you're getting ready. Then you go out there on the mound, and it's just a different sensation all year long without fans in the ballpark.
I think at times you almost felt like the warm-up was a side session with nobody around.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just so much better. The game is meant to be played. Once you become a professional, it's meant to be played in front of a crowd. Obviously, as amateurs, there are certain instances where you're in front of a crowd, but when you just start, there's not that much of a crowd to see you most of the time.
Up the middle, Tim can't play it. It goes bouncing in the air. He's going to get an out anyway. A little pinball machine from TA. And 2 down.
Well, because of the shift, this is the rare 6-5 force out. You just don't see this too often. And Tim stayed right with it.
You know, normally on a 6-5 putout, usually some base runner at second did something dopey.
Well, what you do see a lot of times is you'll see a shortstop with runners at first and second. He'll go in the hole to his right. Sometimes the only play he has is that force out at third, but you don't see the force out at second very often when you have that.
Here is Arcia, who has his job sort of up for grabs, according to Craig Counsell. Luis Urias, who came over from the Padres a couple of years ago in a trade, is challenging Arcia for that spot that's been his for the most part for the last couple years. Ball and 2 strikes from McClure to Arcia.
The Brewers believe that there's a lot more in Arcia than they've seen so far, and maybe that's on the mind of Craig Counsell when he said that job is up for grabs. I think eventually Arcia probably wins that job, but not without a contest, and maybe they can get out of him what they think is in there. Sometimes it takes that.
Well, and it's not like he's playing hide the ball or anything, too, with that. He said, you know, sometimes when I challenge Arcia, when he sees a competition in one way or the other, I can elevate his play. So, I mean, some managers will not tell you they're doing that and then just try and do it. Counsell basically said, hey, here's what I'm doing. Play better.
Well, you're looking at one of baseball's best. He probably doesn't get as much recognition as he deserves because the people around the game know just how good Craig Counsell is.
Tim at short, 6-4, the normal way, and we can all use some normalcy. 3-2, Sox trail.
¿Cómo disimular que me vuelvo loco si no te tengo?
So this is Yoan Moncada's new song, which is going to be his walk-up music this year, Desastre Personal. That's what you're going to hear at Guaranteed Rate Field this year when Yoan walks to the plate. First of all, I think we need to get those outfits for us. I think we probably could pull them off equally as well as Yoan and his friends.
Oh, yeah, we'd both look really good in those.
Look,
especially on radio.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, we have great radio wardrobes. Look, I love Yoan Moncada. You don't get to see his personality a lot, but he is an interesting dude, and we're going to see some of that this year as he walks up to the plate. And frankly, it's a lot better than most people could do if they were creating their own song. You haven't written your own song to walk out to, have you?
No, we didn't have any music when I was growing up.
It's that Gregorian chant, is that?
We had a Zippo, nothing.
You just played with a lighter, is that what you're trying to tell me? Fouled away by Moncada. I mean, the season he put together 2 years ago, the guy we saw just torment Major League pitching is not who we saw last year, and you have to believe the baseline is much closer to what we looked at 2 years ago, and he's going to get back to this year.
I would think so. I mean, he's such a talented guy, and he was getting better and better from the right side, obviously, because he had the opportunity to hit so much as a left-hander. He did much better from that side, but take a look at the numbers and you'll see what a struggling year it was. It wasn't struggling because he got any worse. It was struggling because he had the effects of COVID all year long.
On the ground, right side of the infield, and Robertson does nip him. Even getting down the line there, Yoan Moncada. And you don't want to overplay too much in spring training, but he looked like he had more verve to him even getting out of the box there than he did last year. See what you think.
Well, let's take a look at the verve. Yeah, he's got some of that.
You think there's a little verve there?
Actually, we saw him steal a base today. I mean, he's got great acceleration. He's got good anticipation, and there's not much that he can't do. And you mix it up with verve, and you got yourself quite a player.
Angle chips it foul. I was just hoping he'd put that in place so you would forget that portion of the conversation. That's the part about baseball that I think I missed as well, is it's got this built-in ability to get out of a conversation that we don't have when baseball doesn't exist.
But also plenty of time to get that in if you need it.
Yeah, yeah. Are you saying we needed that?
Yeah.
All of that verve?
Yeah. That right before we go to the Part 12 suites.
That's the promo that's coming up.
No.
I know that you're coming a little too close to me. Go away.
Is it really?
Yeah, we got a promo coming up, and it's the first promo of the year, which I'm glad to be a part of. Perdomo gets a swing and a miss, and here is that aforementioned promo. Pause, hold for applause. Sox fans, catch the action from a private diamond suite this season. Host your closest friends and family with a customizable food and beverage menu. For more information, call or text 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com today. You looking at the Major League scoreboard from around spring training?
I am. I think it's fascinating.
The shape of it or the scores or what?
Everything.
Yeah. It's a strike to Andrew Vaughn. First-round draft pick, third overall just a couple of years ago, and you talked about it. He was the most ready hitter in that draft. And the door's open.
It is, and I think he realizes that this is a golden opportunity for him. I think he's going to make the most of it. He's a real talented kid, and I think he's going to be a special hitter. So, you know, it's one thing to talk about. It's one thing to see what he did then. It's another thing to see what he can do now. He's not going to be overmatched by too many people, and it's going to take him a while, but I think you're going to find a guy that's going to get a whole lot of at-bats as a designated hitter this year, whenever his year in the major league starts, and that's yet to be determined.
He won the Golden Spikes at Cal, not his final season, but his second season. He was a finalist for it his last year at Cal, but he really showed up on people's boards with that second season. He was one of the top freshmen in the country his first year, but the second year was dynamic. And he looks like, I mean, he's an understated guy as you talk to him, but he's always felt like he's got a very quiet confidence about him when we've spent time with him.
And also, he realizes how important for him it is to get as much out of himself at first base as he can. I think he's going to work very hard defensively at first because he's too young to be a full-time DH. He'd like to play some first base, and it gives him another opportunity to play.
Narvaez makes the catch. That is a 1-2-3 inning for the first time in the ball game. Mark it down, folks. The first 1-2-3 inning you saw of the White Sox season was inning number 3 today.
Soccer League watches Las Chivas tries to keep their title hopes alive as they battle Pumas. Game starts tonight at 8:55 only on Telemundo Chicago.
We are already into the 4th inning of this spring training opener.
It's just flying by. We're 2/3 of the way through. Who would have thought when we came here that it would only be 6 innings and we would have used all our material in the first inning and a half?
And we used all the good stuff. Oh, check that. We've not used the good stuff. Bennett Sousa out of the bullpen, a 10th round pick by the Sox in 2018. First pitch in for a strike.
I do want to mention one thing on a serious note, and it's not that it's serious, it's just that it's going to really be important this year, and that's the utilization of the pitching staff because of what happened last year. And we're going to talk about this a whole lot more. We told you at the beginning we talk about pitching, but when you play a 60-game season, you don't really know how much each and every one of your pitchers can do. And that means that you're going to use many more relievers than the allotted 7 or 8 that you normally have. You're going to use many more starters than the allotted 5 that you normally have. Some are talking 6 or perhaps 7 starters. But what's going to be really important is knowing how many innings you can get out of these guys, knowing how many appearances you can get, realizing that you can injure a whole lot of pitchers if you're not really aware of the workload you're going to put on each and every one of these guys. So we're going to see more pitchers this year, and it's going to be vitally important for managers and pitching coaches and front office personnel to understand when to make the moves, how to make them, and just exactly how to get the most out of each and every one of these guys. And one of the most important things are going to be options. And it's going to be getting guys who have major league experience, either as a starter or a reliever, that might still have an option left so you can keep sending them up and back to the minor leagues. If they throw a couple of times, you send them down, you bring up a fresh arm. Same thing with starting pitchers. If they have options left, that becomes a desirable guy. But I think every major league team is going to have to battle with this. And we don't want to see a proliferation of terrible injuries in baseball, because asking guys to throw many more innings than they're probably capable of doing, predicated on the 60 games they played last year, because, I mean, last year you threw 85 innings. That was a big, heavy workload. And guys are asked, you normal year, you want 200 innings out of your starters. It's going to be unrealistic to a few of the guys this year.
That ball's tagged to left center field, angle back at the wall, and this is up and out of here for Tyrone Taylor off of Bennett Sousa to make it 4-2 Milwaukee.
Well, Taylor making the most of his opportunity with a base hit and a home run. That ball up and out over the plate, and a no-doubter.
To your point about pitching, though, that's exactly it for the major league level, and then you trickle it down further to the minor league level as Sousa lets this go by smartly so Tim can handle it. You go to the minor league level, and there are some guys who just did not throw at all. They didn't have a season last year, so they were throwing on their own and doing all of these individual programs and whatever they could do, but there weren't game situations in the same way that they are going to have game situations.
Well, there's also fewer minor league spots, as we know. They contracted a lot of leagues, and so there are fewer jobs in the minor leagues, fewer pitchers. And you know, it's going to be the same game of baseball. It's just going to have to be a bit different, because there's going to be a premium on each and every one of these guys, and there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to pitch in a competitive situation that they didn't for a long time last year. You know, regardless of some to injuries and some to just the fact that they didn't have an outlet to play as a professional.
Right. And Major League Baseball would challenge the contraction idea. I've seen them do that, and they say, well, you know, the 40 teams that aren't affiliated teams anymore are affiliated with the collegiate league and this and that. There are still fewer short season teams.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true.
It's kind of just the way it is.
That's right,
yeah.
right. And so yeah, there are going to be fewer spots in pro ball.
Right. And each team will have fewer guys under control.
That's right.
And they'll have to make better selections.
Everybody in life needs to make better selections.
Yeah, that's
I feel
true.
like.
Some more than others, certainly. But yeah, I mean, it's the same game, but on many levels, it's going to have to be evaluated in a different way.
Well, that's the question: is how do you then recalibrate your brain to evaluate this season as compared to last year with what you were looking for, and then how do you deal with the draft and all that comes with a different draft again?
Well, there's going to be fewer rounds. I mean, that's just the way it is. Fewer players under control of the major leagues.
Avi Garcia gives it a run out to center field, and this ball is going to clear the fence. And the Brewers have their third home run of the ball game. Didn't they say something about deadening the baseball slightly in the offseason?
Yeah, but probably not in spring training. At least not today.
Send out the Super Balls.
Maybe for the first game. Yeah, that one was a bomb. And that's what they're looking for from Avi. He's always been very big and very strong. And they believe that if he finds it, he's capable of hitting a whole lot of home runs. This is hit in the sweet spot of the bat to straightaway center field. It's 410 with a high screen. Avi knows he got every bit of it. And it just doesn't come down in time to stay in the park.
So Avisail Garcia, off a tough season last year. There's a strike to Narvaez. Omar Narvaez had a rough year last year as well. His OPS plus was 53. League average, obviously, for OPS plus for everybody is 100. Any plus stat, the average is 100. As that is a dart to right field, and that is a fair ball rolling into the corner. So Narvaez, since it's spring training, I can't get blamed for jinxing the Sox, I don't believe, by talking about his down year last year.
Sure you can.
You think so?
Yeah, you just did.
Well, let's see if Twitter feels that way. It's a double off of Souza for Narvaez. John Bennett Souza. He goes by his middle name of Bennett. Hey, let's play Sox math, shall we?
I was waiting for you to break this out. I've been waiting for months.
Hashtag Sox math. Number of letters in the last name of last year's AL MVP multiplied by the number of letters in the last name of the new White Sox radio announcer.
This one I certainly do have to disqualify myself because I actually happen to know this one.
Yeah, if you know it, you're disqualified is basically the rule, right?
Uh-huh.
Len Casper, by the way, is in the ballpark today.
Can't believe you'd give that away.
Well, he's in the ballpark. I just didn't tell you that he was possibly part of the answer. He and DJ hanging out in the radio booth right next to us. It's great to see them.
They are that.
0-1 on Hura. Tipped foul, 0-2. Somebody down there yelled nice on strike two.
Well, if you talk about how much power he has and what a great hitter he is, he undoubtedly will get him out. So why don't you lead into that?
I think I did a couple of seconds ago what the lawyers call opening the door. There's strike three. And I will show myself out of that door. Taylor and Garcia go deep. 5-2 your score. Chicago is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. A walking postcard. Got the stamp and everything on the shirt, by the way. You can mail yourself if you have that. Fans in pods here at the ballpark. 2,000 people allowed, and separated fans coming together and separating with one another. But good to see fans in the ballpark. Grab a drink, grab a dog, And here's hoping, as science digs us out of this, that we get more and more improved as the days go on in this country and across the globe dealing with COVID-19.
You know, in knowing that we were going to be on today, I talked to some people from around the country, some people very happy to see the Sox back on again, a couple of huge Sox fans. Jimmy Canatera, one of those guys.
That's not Jim, by the way.
No, he helped facilitate me to get vaccinated.
Oh, is that
Jimmy
right?
Canatero, yeah. It's he called me up and he said, I think I can get you one, and the rest is history. So
I didn't think we were going to get that story today, but
yeah,
there it was.
Really nice.
Zach Collins will lead it off, then Jake Berger and Luis Gonzalez. Zach, the one hit last year in his second season, dabbling in the majors, still a very young catcher out of the University of Miami. And Tony La Russa has said one of the places where he's looking at a position battle is at that catcher spot that's been vacated by James McCann going to the Mets. As you see Miguel Sanchez pitching now for the Brewers.
It also helps that Collins swings a bat from the left side. The Sox looking for a few of those guys, and hopefully he can live up to what the Sox saw when they drafted him out of Miami, because he always has had a great eye. He does have some power. The Sox would like to see some more of it, and we'll have to see if he can get out of himself what was obviously there and is still there.
I just hope he's in the big leagues this year, because the sad day when he was sent to the alternate facility when Dancing for Dubs got broken up with Danny and Zach.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Chuck Swirsky is doing his own version of that with the Bulls now. Chuck is posting a video on Twitter of himself dancing after every Bulls win. And Chuck's dance moves, if you've not seen them, they are totally worth every second. As Zach takes a leadoff walk in this fourth inning. Your Sox math winner is one of our champions from years past. Jordan Lazowski got it first. Jose Abreu, last year's AL MVP, ×6. Len Casper's last name. Len will be very excited to know he's part of Sox math today.
This was actually so easy that you could have gotten it before you asked it.
You think so?
That's why you had a whole list of 30s up and down on the Twitter, whatever you call them, the Twitter thing.
Twitter is what it's called, yeah. On
Isn't there
Twitter.
a Twitter line or a Twitter something?
Timeline?
Yeah.
Is that what you were going for?
Is that what it is?
It is.
Okay.
The timeline.
There it is. Lots of 30s.
Here's Jake Berger, the 11th overall pick by the Sox out of Missouri State. As he takes a strike after a fly out to right in his first at bat. But Jake Berger, we know about the power. We know what he did as a hitter at Missouri State. And again, you said the frame is changed.
Yeah.
He's lost some weight over there at third base, but it's just good to see him in a uniform again.
He's got to be, if not the happiest man to be at spring training in a major league uniform, he's got to be right up there. Because things looked a little dim at one point for him as he kept getting hurt, kept having to fight his way back. And here he is, a renewed sense of purpose, lost a lot of weight, shaped his body completely in a different fashion, and now ready to play baseball and get out of himself what was there.
2-2 on Berger on a fastball there. We should mention Jordan Lazowski does not win anything for winning its exhibition for the prize shelf as well. For Sox math in spring training, but we will.
He gets a virtual present.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
imagine what it should be, and then you'll imagine you actually got it.
He can send in a video, but we just won't play it tomorrow. 2-2. He got jammed. It's a fly ball into left center field, and he still muscled it all the way out to the warning track and one away. We will be doing Sox math videos this year again for the winners. So send us their videos. Sox fans, text or test. Literacy is a problem. Test your luck in the Queen of Hearts raffle benefiting White Sox charities. In addition to weekly prizes like autographed items and memorabilia, One lucky fan will win 50% of the total Progressive jackpot. So that's a jackpot Steve can't win because it's a Progressive jackpot.
And just to remind you, it is spring training for the guys who read promos also.
So what you all need to know is when one of us botches a promo, the other one is licking his chops so much. Like, I looked over at Steve while I was halfway through it, and he was waiting for the opening to go ahead and slice me with the punchline. And this is the camaraderie that we bring you from White Sox television here on NBC Sports Chicago. We are glad to be back with our wonderful crew once again. Chris Withers producing and directing today. Chris Kamka in the studio dealing with graphics once again. And Mark Harper, the tech wizard of all of this, setting up everything that goes into this production. And he is a marvelous human being.
Well, there's a lot more challenges this year than most, as some of us are here and some of us are there and some of us can't be found. So it's really a nice thing.
You got a search party out for whoever that is? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
It's 3-0 Luis Gonzalez, who made his major league debut last year. Just a couple of trips to the plate, but he can call himself a major leaguer now. And certainly, you know, you break camp with your roster, and there's the opening day roster everybody wants to make, but it's very clear. I mean, you need dozens upon dozens of reserves to get through a championship season, as you say.
Yeah, more so this year than any other year that we will ever see, I believe, because let's hope at least we never see a 60-game season again.
Yes, let's hope.
All of the circumstances that led to the necessity of 60 games. As it was a remarkable year in many ways, and you know, doesn't diminish the Dodgers and their championship because it was 60 games, because everybody put up with a lot of things that were very difficult, including the occasional cases of COVID, having to postpone games and play them later. Some teams stacked up with doubleheaders. I mean, it was a very difficult physical and a very difficult emotional year, hopefully the likes of which we will never see.
Strike three, throw down to second is not in time. And so the Sox will have a runner at second base with 2 out.
Second baseman number 20, Danny Mendick.
Look, I think there's reason you could argue that the Dodgers championship should be amplified even more. I mean, with everything everybody went through to do what they did, I mean, I think they deserve a lot of credit for last year.
Well, they have a wonderful baseball team. They're favored to win it all again. San Diego certainly is going to have a whole lot to say about that, as they got exponentially stronger over the wintertime. A.J. Preller with some wonderful moves putting that team together, making great trades. It's a strong team. They have to prove, however, they can beat the Dodgers. And they will take some beating, because getting Trevor Bauer and improving their rotation, I mean, that's still a really good baseball team. So it's going to be nice for all of us to be able to see all of the teams that are in baseball this year instead of just seeing a select few that we saw last year. Again, it necessitated the way it was last year, but it's nice to be able to see some of the stars. For instance, you know, we open up with the Angels. You get to see Mike Trout. You get to see Albert Pujols in what might be his final season, one of the great players in the history of baseball, one of the great hitters we ever saw, a man who won a Gold Glove at first base. I mean, you know, he's a great player, and it's nice to be able to see him. We didn't obviously see him last year.
Our co-tenants at Camelback Ranch, the champions last year, as Danny Mendick flies to right, and that will do it for the 4th inning. We're only playing 6 today, so innings are scarce to the 5th next.
Vaughn has his eyes set on the DH role this year. We mentioned that before.
The pro
Hear
didn't
him
know
talk
that.
about the Hall of Famer who's helping him to prepare for the role. Listen and subscribe to the White Sox Talk podcast, presented by Wintrust.
Were you just talking to the promo?
No, I was trying to find out where the lovely Michelle was. The promo appeared seemingly out of nowhere.
She handed it from under the curtain.
Yeah, she did.
Pay no attention to the promo behind the curtain. Marco Hernandez playing second base now. We've seen Marco Hernandez in other uniforms in the past.
We have.
Red Sox, among others, as Sebi Zavala takes over behind the plate. And the bat nearly went to visit Marco Hernandez. And there's Adam Engel in center field doing what he does, out number 1.
It looked like it was going to fall, and then you realize that in the absence of Luis Robert, Adam Engel catches just about everything if it stays in the park, and he did so again.
Kyle Kubat, the new pitcher for the Sox. Once again, we should mention Lucas Giolito is scheduled to pitch on Tuesday in our game between the Sox and the Texas Rangers. So we'll get a look at the White Sox lead horse in the rotation. Maybe mixing in a few more curveballs this year. Not a whole lot, but they're working on the slider as well. And he and Ethan Katz like the shape of the slider as they've seen in the offseason. And we'll get more into Lucas Giolito and what he's looking for in 2021 when he starts on Tuesday. Kyle Kubat from lovely Omaha, somewhere in Middle America. You been to Omaha?
I have not. We didn't get there when I was in college. We got eliminated before the tournament started. But a lot of teams that were able to do that thought it was a great city. And Warren Buffett likes it.
It's a great city.
Yeah.
Huge sports town, Omaha. They love their Creighton Blue Jays.
There was, for many years, Rosenblatt Stadium, which was a great place with great memories for a lot of people. Not me, of course, but most of them.
Now they have the very cavernous TD Ameritrade ballpark there, which some people said they should move the fences in.
Never.
Yeah, I knew
Never.
you started to get the shakes when I said that.
I want to move them back.
Just in life, you want to move the fences back?
Everywhere.
Yeah. 3-2 from Kubat to Vogelback. And this is on the ground to the right-hand side for Tim Anderson. And 2 gone in this here 5th inning.
Well, Daniel might figure out before it's over that if he keeps doing that, there's going to be a shortstop there in the shift, because he's hit 3 balls to Tim Anderson. They're not going to change.
Beautiful day, huh?
It's a gorgeous day, and it's going to get warmer. It was a little chilly on the way to the park. I got here 5 o'clock in the morning to prepare for this game, and it was a little chilly.
Where were you between 5 and 10:30?
I was
downstairs in the
computer room.
Preparation hub.
That's exactly. It was the hub. That's exactly where I was. Yes. You know, you have to. We didn't see a lot of the Brewers last year. We did see them, but not a lot of them. So you have to prepare for this.
Only some of the Brewers last year. I love these uniforms, by the way. I'm a huge fan of these Milwaukee jerseys.
I just think their team is underrated to a certain extent. And for those who haven't seen Devin Williams pitch, you got to watch this guy, because he pretty much yells at you, I'm going to throw you the changeup, and you've got no chance of hitting it. 2 hits all of last year
now
on the changeup.
Now you're yelling at me.
I'm very excited. Very excited about good changeup.
Bottom 5. Steve will be. Each auction starts Monday and ends the following Sunday, 7 p.m. All net proceeds benefit Chicago White Sox charities. Check out the items up for bid at whitesox.com/auction. So we were talking earlier about Christian Yelich, who had a tough year last year, but he has a tie to Blake Rutherford, who's in the batter's box right now for the Sox. He and Blake have become off-season workout buddies in the past, and they've become friends because their brothers have played together in travel baseball. So they got to know each other through that, and Blake Rutherford has trained in the past with one of the best, former MVP, Christian Yelich.
Well, hopefully and you would figure they would exchange hitting philosophies, and I think if you're going to work out with Christian Yelich, it's best to do a lot of listening and listening to how he did it, because, you know, he's a devastating force offensively, and that's what made last year all the more surprising. But everybody in baseball expects a huge bounce back year, and if he gets it, there's no reason that team can't go to the playoffs again. I mean, you know, a lot of people say, well, the Cardinals are going to be really good and the Cubs will have, you know, a decent lineup this year. But the Brewers, I think, are one of the teams that you overlook at times. But with that bullpen, which is out of this world, it's really tough to overlook them. And the top part of their pitching rotation is just great.
This is back behind shortstop, and Rutherford flies out for out number 1. It should be something of a down year in the NL Central, with the bottom of the Central, you know, not being great. But the Brewers have a lot of guys back from a team that was competitive. And look, they were 2 under last year without Yelich. If he has even anything close to the season he normally has, they're a playoff team coasting.
You know, this is just, it's going to be a much better team because Lorenzo Cain is back. He opted out last year after a few games for health concerns, and he's a Gold Glove center fielder. Even at 35 years old, he's really a wonderful center fielder still. Plus, he can hit. So Hira has to get better. He's going to be a little more selective, they would hope. Yelich is going to have a bounce back year. You'd have to think they're going to be a lot better team this year. And I think they're going to produce a few more runs, but that pitching, if they have the lead, forget late, if they have the lead heading into the 6th inning, more times than not, you're going to lose that game.
That's exactly what I was going to say, too. 6th inning, you don't want to be behind. And Brandon Woodruff as well is pretty well underrated, as Ethan Small, their former first-round pick, makes a grab for out number 2 as TA bounces out in his 3rd at bat.
And the one thing that we have to mention when we talk about the greatness of that Brewer bullpen is the bullpen the Sox are going to run out this year. Garrett Crochet is going to be out there. Michael Kopech is going to be out there. And imagine you're a hitter in the American League and you're looking at those 2 guys who have a chance to come in maybe in the 6th inning, maybe for Crochet a little bit later, and you're saying, well, 102 and 102 with great movement and big stuff. And then you look at some of the other guys. You look at Hoyer coming out of there.
We haven't said Liam Hendricks'
You look at Hendricks. Well, he's going to be at the end.
Right.
You look at him coming out of there in the high 90s. There's not only great arms, but there's great stuff up and down that bullpen. And, you know, Marshall last year, Foster last year, guys who can really pitch. And you have to mention Bummer because he's as good a left-hander as there is in baseball. Talking with Ethan Katz, he said he was out here playing catch, and Bummer decided to throw him a few 2-seamers, and he said, "You can't ever throw those pitches to me again. I will never play catch with you again if you throw that," because he was, you know, bouncing him off his knees and everything else along those lines. So, you know, you got Bummer stuff is just enchanted. You don't find stuff like that except if you look back at Zach Britton in his heyday. He had that kind of sinker and movement.
Moncada in the air to left. And that will be a 1-2-3 inning for Ethan Small, as we will go to the 6th inning, our final inning on this telecast today, with the Sox trailing by 3.
I don't know when we turn into a relief pitching powerhouse development program, but it just kind of seems like every new guy that comes up, you know, is coming up to the big leagues ready to compete, ready to attack, and, you know, is, you know, has plus stuff, or just has this ability. So, you know, I think that there's going to be 5 or 6 guys down in Charlotte, or 5 or 6 guys or the alternate side, or wherever it may be, to where if there's something that happens, an injury or something like that, you know, we're not going to take a step back by bringing another guy up. You know, watching Tyler Johnson today, I mean, he was facing, I think he was facing like TA, he was facing Yohan, you know, those guys, and he went out there and dominated. And, you know, so it's just really cool seeing those guys come in and compete already and showing what they can early in camp.
I'm glad we played that, because Aaron Bummer said I think what we were feeling as we were watching those guys come up, that the Sox have suddenly become this developmental powerhouse for young arm talent. And there were some years where it was like, okay, the Yankees come in and they've got 6 of these guys. Now the Sox are one of those teams where it's a nonstop run through. It's Danny DePico, whose highest level is AA so far in Birmingham in 2019, comes in to pitch.
Well, I think we'll see another wave of very young pitchers coming along that will impress a whole lot of people. So it's a combination of the emphasis you put on arm action, the development program you have, because scouting has to come hand in hand with player development. If you scout real well and you can't develop, it doesn't really help you. If you develop okay, but you don't have anybody to develop, that doesn't help you either. And that's where the Sox have really excelled of recent vintage, both the coordination of player development and scouting working hand in hand.
That's ball 4 and a walk for Robertson to lead off this 6th and final inning. Download the MLB app to get in-game video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and more for the White Sox and the rest of the league. You want to do scores from around the league? I mean, we might as well, right?
Absolutely.
Reds and Indians tied at 1, top of the 6th. Dodgers and A's.
Is that the last inning there?
We don't know.
Oh,
leave some to the imagination, please.
Okay.
That's it, huh? So I guess if I just use the phrase "leave some to the imagination," you just say okay.
Sure, no problem.
Fly ball to right, and Rutherford fighting the wind. Little Bob Seger fly ball there against the wind, and 1 down here in the 6th.
Nice to retire Taylor. He was having a perfect day.
Well, it is a perfect day at the ballpark, so why shouldn't somebody have one?
It'd be a perfect day with about 10 more degrees.
But who's picky, right?
You know, this
we have 30 inches of snow in Chicago.
Yes, you do.
2 down. You were saying?
I've been devoid of snow down here, actually, but I'm going to be back. You know, the final couple of games of spring, we're going to be united again in Chicago to do those games.
That's right.
To get a feeling for what the road games will look like during the course of the season, at least to start. We don't know how this is going to work out. But I am anxious to be able to get back, and you were able to take care of my car during the wintertime so that it starts, I trust.
Yeah, I start your car every couple weeks.
It's just terrific. And, you know, the check is in the mail, and the way the mail has been, you should get it, I don't know, September, October, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I was watching those hearings the other day. I don't think I'm going to get to see that check for a while. 2 down. Len Casper will be in for game 3.
Yes.
You and Len will be doing the game from here in Arizona. You and I will be in Arizona on Tuesday. And then you and Len will have the game on the 13th.
Right. Then you will go back.
Yeah, I will be leaving.
To start my car.
Yes, to start the car. That's the only reason I'm leaving spring training. Start your car.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And so you, the 17th, you have to watch that telecast on the 17th, because I'm going to be in Chicago, Steve's going to be in Arizona, and we're going to have a grand old time.
It'll be, it'll be interesting. But you will have more access to food on the 17th than I will have.
You were offered food. I offered you a piece of this protein bar earlier.
Oh, boy. Yeah, but you've had that since last season.
It's up and out. 2 balls and a strike. I don't disagree. From Danny DePico. Sox got a 2-run homer in the first inning from Adam Engel. 3rd batter of the game for the Sox off of Kent State alumnus Eric Lauer. And great to see Sox and Brewer fans milling around together with that Brewer logo. And we're going to blow your mind here. That Brewer logo, that's the mitt that's on the sweatshirt covered by the hair. That Brewer logo is an M on top of a B. If you've never seen it before, it's a mitt, but it's also an M and a B. That ball's bashed to right center field. Engel in right center has no chance. Brewers build the lead to 7-2. So Dylan Cousins, the former top prospect for the Phillies, goes deep.
Yes, heard a lot about Dylan as he was coming up. He had some miraculous years. And he still has a chance. I mean, when you have that kind of power, and he's got gigantic power. So, you know, you never know when you can put it all together.
Have you put it all together?
I'm still waiting. I don't want to peak too early.
Well, you never know when it'll happen. Diving play at first. Andrew Vaughn is on it to end the inning. Bottom six coming your way. Our final half inning after this. Desert sun. A chilly wind cuts through the valley. But you're not going to see many people leaving ball games early this year.
No, nope, they're not. And you know, to the folks who've been waiting and listening to us talk about this baseball team at some venue throughout the wintertime, they're very excited about what lies ahead. We didn't see the starting lineup today. A few of the guys, Tim Anderson, we did see today. Yohan Moncada, we did see. But this lineup, when it comes together, is going to be awesome. And great White Sox fans around the country, like Chris Miller out of Houston, will be suitably excited when they see this team finally come together. And that's going to be when they start playing 9-inning games in the spring, which is going to be the middle of March sometime, and I don't know exactly the date. I think it's March 12th, because they sent me the protocol for the spring, which is really nice, is on my 4-inch phone, and the protocol was 4 pages of stuff that I had to keep expanding. It took me like 6 hours to read it, so I don't remember the date exactly, but I'm sure you have it on your illuminated box there.
Took longer for you to read the protocols, but not by much, than for you to finish that sentence.
I think it's that they'll start playing 9 innings, something along those lines.
Yeah, it's middle of March.
Yeah, I could have said that, but it would have been so much easier.
Yeah, well, time marches on. The swing and a miss, and that'll be strike 3. So 1 gone. We saw Tim and Yohan walking off the field. You were still in your preparation hub downstairs when this happened, but sitting in the booth, Len was over in the radio booth, and I heard my name, and it was Tim Anderson yelling from down on the field. And I said, "How's it going?" He said, "Keeping 6 feet away," and he pointed at me. But the joy that Tim Anderson and this team gets out of playing baseball and just being around each other, and you know this, you've been around enough teams that haven't had this. This team's togetherness has been top-notch for the last couple of years, and now the talent is there to back it up, and the growth is, and I think that's a scary proposition for the rest of the American League.
And I do want to give some props to Ricky Renteria. In that last year, before this team had a chance to really build on any great period of success, they came to spring training, and they were a very confident team. And I couldn't quite figure out what it was, but they were confident, and they've carried it over to this year. And again, I think that has to do with Ricky and his staff heading into last season. We all know what happened last year. They made the playoffs. They got eliminated early. Some of the guys are not here any longer from that staff, but that was the foundation of what this team is going to be this year. And we have to give them kudos for what they did through some very difficult times for a few years. Tony and his staff will be the beneficiary of a whole lot of that. But this team is a confident bunch once again, maybe the confidence soaring like never before, because they've got talent like never before in that dugout and that clubhouse.
Second walk today for Andrew Vaughn. I'm glad you said that. Ricky Renteria, a marvelous guy, and we wish him the very, very best. Hey, treat yourself to the best the White Sox have to offer with premium seating. Learn more about our exclusive spaces and world-class amenities. Got the perfect package for you, your family, or your business. For more information, call or text 312-674-1000 or go to whitesox.com. Shattered bat, ground ball left side. It's tossed into next Tuesday into right field. And the Sox have something cooking in this 6th and final inning. What could have been a chance at a double play instead is a parachute onto the right field grass.
Well, it started out to be showtime and turned into one of those plays that the manager might suggest, you know what, why don't you just get at least one out? Instead of the glove flip, you might want to reach in and, yeah, try it with your bare hand. It's a lot easier that way.
So, Sox have 2 runners on, 1 out in the 6th inning. As Steve was saying, try it with your bare hand. It's a lot easier that way. Steve actually poked his bare hand in the booth and has cut himself open.
I got 2 paper cuts. You know, early in the spring when you get paper cuts, it just, you know, you just never want to get that early in the spring.
I would not have mentioned it. I would have just gone along with Jake Berger's at bat here. But it happened to have occurred. It happened to have occurred at the very moment you said, try it with your bare hand, which seemed like advice to yourself that was mistaken.
Jeez. They have a medical tent here?
Wow. You're an exceptional human. You know
Thank
that?
you. Well,
you were literally just like putting something in your bag. And you hurt yourself.
it's what they say about bullpens. You have to stop the bleeding.
Yeah. Well, what a story it's been over the course of 6 innings today. Michelle, our stage manager, clearly realizes it's not a severe injury. She's in the back of the booth laughing at you behind that curtain.
Yeah.
Berger takes a rip at it and misses. And 2 down here in the 6th inning.
Yes, you say it's not a severe injury because you're not bleeding.
That's right. Yes, Steve. At least you're okay. I mean, you're hidden behind the window there, but you're okay.
Oh,
we can see you.
I'm about to pass out.
Yeah.
Loss of blood.
2 down here. We seriously look. It's a spring training game. The Sox are trailing big. And we've seen Andrew Vaughn, a couple of walks, Adam Engel, a 2-run home run. The notables today, Blake Rutherford, Danny Mendick with a hit as well. As Mike Rodolfo will get a swing here. On the lineup card, he is just simply DLF in the calligraphy of Jerry Naron, who's been scrawling out the lineup card, and his writing is top-notch.
Miker is a huge man with enormous power.
Huge.
Yeah.
If not for his injury a couple years ago, Steve's inching closer with his gory hand, the gory hand of stone. Ball to strike. It's inside. If not for Mike Rodolfo's injury a couple years ago, I feel like his rise, we would have heard a lot more about him to this point with that UCL injury.
Well, he still has a whole lot of talent, and when he gets one, win, no win, it really doesn't matter. He can hit him 8 miles. You don't carry a pint of blood with you in your briefcase, do you?
I do not. It's a little paper cut.
It's 3 of them.
Wait, you have 3?
Yeah. Oh,
that's our new slogan for a telecast. New wounds every inning. 3 balls and a strike on Mike Rodolfo. And a swing and a miss. 3-2 on Adolfo. Again, we come back with you. At least I will be back with you on Tuesday. Lucas Giolito will be on the mound.
I'll be here. I'm looking for a strong recovery. Maybe.
Please send all medical supplies to Camelback Ranch, care of Stephen Michael Stone. 3-2. Adolfo swings and misses, and that is strike 3. to end the ball game. Steve, as your last wish, your final thoughts for today's telecast?
It was like, it started out with all the excitement and everything you would expect for a spring game. It ended in tragedy. I think everything is going to be fine when we reconvene on Tuesday.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have to say farewell. Andrew Vaughn, couple of walks, Adam Engel, a 2-run home run. The Brewers hit a grand total of 4 home runs, doing more damage than a piece of paper to Steve's hand. The Desert Southwest, so glad to have you back here. Sox fall to the Brewers. Sox Rangers on Tuesday. He's Steve still. I'm Jason. Chris Withers, producer, director Chris Camp, our entire crew. See you Tuesday.